Hello, what's good everybody, it's your boy Roman Plus here with some more OPBR. Now, I had a bunch of new players been asking me lately, Roman, what do you do for your support? How do you operate your support? And they were like, could you make a video on it? I was like, sure. So here today, we're going to cover support guide, kind of some things to do, some things to focus on, some things to not focus on. And yeah, so let's dive into it. Let's take a look. All right, now here we go. Now, the first thing starting off with support, there's the three things that kind of like prioritizes what increases your support. You have the level of your characters, you have what tier characters they are, and then you have how maxed they are in their character boost. So all those things affect how high that little percentage. So you see this 155 percentage right under my Lucci's name right there? That is all affected by the support. Now let me go with something that I can mess around with. So here, starting with nothing. So as you can see, a level 85 gives you this, and they give you, actually let's start with the level 100. So level 100 Chopper, each person has a tag on them. You're going to want to check these out, every new character. He gives me attackers, Straw Hat, Zoan, power users, and New World. Now some of these don't affect anything, like power users does not give any effect. But you can check something like Straw Hats gives you an effect, and it stacks up to 6 times. It says, yes, it says you see a number 5, but go based off the number. It says level 100, 600. So, and it tells you what applicable characters you own that you can use on them. That only shows you the ones you own. It does not show you all of them. So, watch out for that. So you have attackers, so obviously Chopper is a very good support because he has all of these, and he has Zoan, which is one of the best ones. If you could prioritize a support tag, Zoan is one of the best because it lets you reduce damage from the color you're weak against. So if you are green, you take reduced damage from red. If you're blue, you take reduced damage from green, etc, etc. So that is one of the better things to do. As you can see, him being level 100, he gives you a full 1 tier on these. So he gives you that full 1. Which, obviously the levels for these are different, so this is only 80 for attackers to get to 1, but for Straw Hat Pirates, you have to be 180 to get to 1. So it differs for that. As you're beginning out, you'll kind of get there, but you'll want to stack them up. But see how Chopper starts as a full 1? Now, if you are a level 85, so let's look at Law here. Let's replace him here. Law counts for a little bit less. Law gives me even less points. So yes, he gives me enough for an attacker, but let's actually, is there a lower level attacker that I have here? See if I can find a very low level attacker who isn't leveled up. Smoshigi, level 1. Look at her. She gives me like no points, even though she's the same unit, but it's because she's level. So your level does matter in the support. So keep that in mind when you are taking that into consideration. And another thing to focus on is, you'll notice that I have all these teams. This is my green team. Notice how they're all green supports. Same color gives you higher percentage for characters than like a different color. So if I were to put half green, half blue in here, my support percentage would go way down. Also, as you can see, some characters don't have medals on them. If you equip medals, like I'm going to equip medals to this Joshua Doji, it does matter. So I'll put the 9-star. This is going to be 8-star. The number does matter. 9-star is the maximum you can get. If you can put all 9 stars on, that is your goal. So the higher the star, the higher the support percentage is going to give you. So I was at 151 last time, now I'm at 154. So medals play a huge part. Another thing that does take into consideration is the boost, the character boost. Now this is much smaller percentage, so don't worry about it too much. This is, I think it's like 0.1 or 0.2% per amount of blocks that you get. So don't worry too much about these. The character boost does help, but it is not the end all be all. So it does help if you can get those max. So characters that you are going to want to max out for your supports are things like Straw Hats, because Straw Hats has one of the best tags in the game. It reduces critical damage received by 30%. Crits are very abundant on a lot of characters, and it can help save your life tremendously, especially on team boosts and if you become a godlike defender. Whitebeard Pirates has one that's like whatever. Other notable ones are Zoan, as I said earlier. Usually there's attacker, defender, and runner. The attacker one gives you increased crit damage and attack. One thing I do actually want to note of, look at the effects. So at 5 attackers in, I get 80 attack damage, increased critical damage by 33%. If you get 6, you get more than double attack damage, and you get more critical damage. So it's obviously an exponential scaling, the way they do this, obviously up to 6, but it increases your damage dramatically, so it's very, very helpful if you can get the full 6. So if you're going for something, you generally want to get a full 6 effect. So I would recommend trying to get like a full attacker support, full defender support, or full runner support if you can. The runner support is a little less useful, I'm gonna be honest. So that one's useful for specific characters. So if you're running something like Usopp, because you're running runners that have increased treasure gauge amount when you're alone, Dolphy, Usopp, Kaku, things like that are good for these characters, or Soga King as well. Things like that is when runner support will be good, but otherwise, attacker support is probably your go-to, I'm gonna be honest. Most people will run that. Defender support's nice if you're defending and charging flags. It gives you increased charge rate on the defense. Plus, it gives you like same amount of defense as attack, so you kind of cancel out attackers' attack. So, and you increase the treasure recovery gauge amount. That's basically when you're charging it, it speeds up faster. It's really, really nice. I like it. East Blue is kind of nice. East Blue gives you increased damage to your same color. So if you're running Roger and you want to kill other Rogers faster, you run this. But probably not that useful. I generally wouldn't recommend that one. Navy, hard to get. Very, very hard to get. Probably would not recommend until you're super late game or you're a Giga Whale. That's the only times you would probably go for that. But when you're on your captures treasure, reduce knockback distance by 60%. I've heard this one doesn't even help that much, so probably not that great. 7 Warlords of the Sea. This one can be very strong on certain characters, and since most of the warlords are blue, as you can see here, most of them are blue. If you're a blue main, you can definitely go for 7 warlords support, because all of the other warlords are very, very good supports. They're captains, they're Paramecias, they're grand lines. Some of them are New World, but most of them are grand lines. So if you want to take reduced damage from blues as well, grand line is good. Straw Hat Pirates, I told you guys earlier. Paramecium, most people go with Paramecium a lot. If you're running like Zoro, this is good. This really helps. I know people on Zoro love running that. Logia, if you want to counter Dr. Usopp, this is your go-to. When your strength is more than 70%, reduces damage received from characters type long range, normal attack characters, by 50%. So you'll take reduced damage from Usopp. It's actually very helpful. This one's a very good one, but I would not recommend for newer players. So generally stay away from that one. Captain, you'll usually come across. Captain's an alright tag. It's nothing game-breaking or crazy, but it helps you out for sure. Reduced damage received from long-range normal characters when you have less than 30%. So, that's fine. Strength is basically HP, so keep that in mind. And then the last ones, well, actually not last ones, but Grand Line. Grand Line's nice. Take reduced damage from same color, so that's nice. That's always very helpful. You can usually get away with running a Zoan and a Grand Line, so you can take reduced damage from your same color, the color you're weak against, and you already have reduced damage from the color you're strong against. So you'll take a bunch of reduced damage. It's really good for defenders. New World is good for generally greens, because you can increase damage to color you're weak against. Greens are almost always fighting reds, because it's always red meta. So very helpful. If you are greens, you're going to want to have a New World set. Worst Generation, pretty good on certain characters, like Captain Kid. You can actually use this. You increase the knockback if you're a fat knockbacker. Captain Kid can run this set. You can actually get a really good red setup, support setup. It works disgusting. You can be on Fishman Island. You can be Captain Kid. You can knock someone from B flag to D flag. It's disgusting. Roger EX Roger Pirates. I honestly haven't seen anyone really run this, but it reduces the time of status effects. That can be very helpful, especially if it's like poison or something, but it's only when you're less than 50%, so not that crazy. I wouldn't focus or prioritize on it. And then Fishman, this one is obviously a lot less. You can only go a couple of people on this. When an area around your enemy's treasure, reduce knockback distance by 20%. That's really not that helpful, but maybe if we get more Fishman, maybe it'll become more of a nice city. But there's only like 2 blue Fishman 4 stars, and then there's 1 red 4-star. So yeah, it's nothing crazy. I wouldn't prioritize that. It's whatever. But anyways, that is our support guide, you guys. All right, now I know I ran through that a little bit fast. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. I will be happy to answer any and all questions that I can. I will especially be watching the comment section for this one a lot, because I will know when this one comes out. So if you guys have any, please be sure to let me know down below, and I will answer them. But I know I had some newer players asking me about how to do support. You can do the autofill support, but I wouldn't prioritize that one. That one's just kind of a nicety. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is all I have for you guys. Remember, please feel free to ask questions down below. But I'm your boy Roman Puss, and I'm gonna be taking off. Yeah, peace, beautiful people.